Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard. Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
I'm telling you right now, there's nothing better than when a group of people who have a common goal get on the same page and start going in that direction to achieve the goal for the team, for the greater good, but also to have a sense of accomplishment within that team. There's nothing better than that. I enjoyed my time in the Marines for that reason. We were given challenges in training. We were given deadlines to commit goals and things like that. Even when I went to West Point for 2 minutes for that 1 week training period in my life, working as a team to achieve objectives, I get so excited about that. Even as a kid, playing over by the park, we're going to play, 2-on-2 football or 5-on-5 football. And there's that one guy who's in the group who's saying, okay, here's what we're going to do, Brzezowski. I want you to stand over here on the far left. And what I want you to do is I want you to go block this guy and then roll off him, run towards the touchdown. I'm going to throw you the football. That one older kid that was in the group. That's one of the reasons I love football so much. It's because of my brother's friends who took me in back then when I was a little kid to play football with them. What an impact you can have. And imagine if you're a father and you could do that with your son, your young son's kids. My son told me the other day, Max, one of the best times he's had. Now, this guy, listen to this. This guy was born in not really the best circumstances. His mother and I met in AA. We never got married, tumultuous relationship, and we weren't together very long. It was a quick relationship. A lot of insecurities I was dealing with at the time. So, like I said, low self-esteem. So I found the comfort in her at the time. And I don't want to sound terrible, but I settled in a relationship. And next thing you know, I'm on the verge of breaking up because it just wasn't working out. And I find out, hey, we're going to have a baby. So next thing you know, we decide to move in together in my parents' house, my mom's house. Horrible idea. It was worse. It just blew up from there. Her true personality showed up, not mine. I wanted to take care of her and take care of the baby. Well, next thing you know, we move into our own place. I gave up my consulting job because I needed a job to take care of the medical bills and stuff. I was in way over my head. I was unemployed for a long time trying to get sober. And next thing you know, I have a baby on the way, so I have to get back in the car dealership. The funny thing is I had one amazing consulting job working for a gigantic dealer group to work on their F&I and sales process, their finance and insurance, the guy you meet after you buy the car. And it was it was going to be fantastic. It was going to be definitely one of those jobs that I could have retired from. I was overseeing and getting a portion of every little dealership's, it was a big dealer group, every little dealership's part of the pie. I would get a portion of that. And it would have been very lucrative. However, I just didn't trust the people. I just had a bad vibe. And it was a lot of alone time talking about discipline. I would have to have a lot of self-discipline being on the road. And I just didn't want to do that. I wasn't ready for that part of my life. I was worried I would compromise my sobriety. So I ended up going to work at a place which I was familiar with. And nobody else would hire me because of my stints of me being a nut job before all this happened. I went completely off the reservation, completely crazy. I would get in the craziest type of troubles. Like I would go to a bar and pick on like a few people. I'm not a big guy, but I would pick on a few people and get into fights, epic fights, amazing fights. And, you win some, you lose some. Even if you win a fight, you lose, right? You're an idiot. I mean, come on. In my late 30s, I'm still fighting in bar fights. That was ridiculous. But when they ask you that question, are you a harm to yourself or others? Boy, I was ring, winner, chicken dinner. That was me. So constantly suicidal, constantly depressed, attempts, detoxes, rehabs, all of that nonsense. And just the toxicity, I was just such a chaos and drama was my middle name. So I decided to clean myself up, and now I'm sober, I'm doing the right thing, I meet some people, I get some companionship, and I realize that maybe I got a relationship issue because I'm constantly trying to run through relationships. That's not a good idea. Maybe I should slow down a little bit and look at the big picture of things. Maybe I should commit to being sober so I truly can find peace within myself, because that's what I didn't have. I talked about it before, insecurities, the prison I was in, not feeling accepted or wanted. So I'd always kind of look for that, whether it was with friends growing up. I think I was picked on a lot when I was in grade school and have some issues because of that. I don't want to say I was bullied, but, I just was on a different side of the fence than everybody else, or so I felt. And when they would talk to me a certain way, even though they were kidding, it hurt my feelings about how I was as a kid. So it really did, a lot of that really did affect me. And I just was like, I got to get sober. So I got sober to find peace, and I found somebody else, and next thing you know, we're having a kid. So I go get the job and I go live my life, and I'm like, I just got to be normal. I got to be average, man, because I don't want to be I don't want to be crazy, because I was in an institution for being crazy. Yes, I checked myself in, but that's the start of the problem, because then all the medications, it made me insane. And I'm not on any medications now. Maybe you think I need to be, but I'm not. And I have a real big problem with, mental health and over medication. But having that time to really look at that relationship, and it just didn't work out. We just could not make it work. There was no way it was going to work. So when she moved out, and my son lives an hour and a half away now, 3 hours away. So we meet. That's when I say I'm driving to Bloomington. It's an hour and a half one way for me to get to the drop-off point. And we're very close. We spend a lot of time together. We spend a lot of time on the phone together. And he's with me a lot now, which is wonderful.
However, all that time that I invested with him over the years has really paid off, because we have a wonderful relationship. And I've made decisions based on my emotions before, and the end result wasn't so good. I have 2 children that are grown now, that everybody that's gone through emotional problems and didn't deal with it well might have the opportunity to try to mend those relationships. And that's what I'm doing now. We have a good relationship, and I wish it was so much better. And that's something that's going to be a work in progress based on all of the decisions and actions I took, and then now the decisions and actions that they're taking. And in time, I think it'll all work out. When I talk about Max, who was, born into a relationship that was on the verge of a breakup, well, let me just say this. He's loved very much by his mother and his grandparents and the family that he's living with. And my wife and stepdaughter have taken him in like he's the very own. So he's got the best of, and his grandmother. Everything's great for this young guy. For Max, it's wonderful. And I see how the interaction and communication goes. And he's such a well-rounded guy that it's like he started off pretty bad. It could have been really bad. 2 parents that are addicts, alcoholic, and have emotional issues, to trying to figure stuff out, to really wanting for nothing now, and is in a position in his life where, let's face it, he goes on 2 vacations a year. Last year alone, he was to Florida and Hawaii. I don't want to spoil him. It's just the point I'm trying to make is that, the beginning doesn't necessarily, if you could start off great and you could end up being a total tool. That's like me. I started out great. I had a great life. I was adopted, like I said in the last one, just after being over a year old, to a loving family, a very good, hardworking family, brothers and sisters. And I was it was a great growing up. But for whatever reason, I turned into the biggest tool in the world. I made every wrong decision you could possibly make. So now I look at it, and I'm going back to this whole thing about teamwork, and what I wanted to share with you is, sorry, that motorcycle threw me off a bit. So what I wanted to share with you is, in the big picture of things, is like when people start getting on the same page, whether it's a family, the family wants to do this, they want to go this direction, they want to communicate in a certain style, and they have a family, believe it or not, can have goals and objectives. One of the things that we do is we try to stay positive. Hey, we're in a negative world sometimes. We just try to stay upbeat and have fun with it. It's not always easy, but that's something we try to do. We always try to do family dinner together, whatever time that is. I could get home at 10:30, and we're going to do family dinner at 10:30. Some people don't agree with that, for structuring and scheduling. But hey, I think family is really that important, especially your immediate family, like your brothers and sisters. And, I've distanced myself intentionally from that, and I regret it. And it is what it is. because I've chose that. But now I look back on it and I'm like, well, maybe I could do better with that. I'm trying. In my immediate family, now that we're on the same page, there's kind of this fun being around each other, especially during the pandemic and the stay-at-home ruling that's in Illinois. And so you take that one step further, and what you find out is you might start identifying that you live with some really great people, and you really appreciate and enjoy being around them even more so. Same thing at work. When everyone gets on the same page, in your organization, and everyone has the same end result, and you're going to be doing it to help the other guy out next to you, and you want more of that, it's just amazing what can happen. That's where the synergy starts, right? 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 3. It's so wonderful to see that happen. So I'm all over the place on these. I always say this, I'm just ranting and talking about, but the lesson to be learned is that, teamwork makes the dream work. Where you started out in your life doesn't mean that's where you're going to wind up. All right. The past doesn't equal the future. And I quote Tony Robbins. What I want you to do is realize just how important and how valuable you are. And if you're not where you want to be at, then you need to treat somebody a little bit better. If you want to have more in your life, you need to do a little bit more. And when you sigh to yourself and it's a lonely place out there and I don't know where to go, you need to be a friend to somebody else. Because a lot of the problems that we have are because we are selfish. We weren't put on this planet to be selfish. We were put on this planet to help other people get what they want. And do that in a really fun, non-judgmental way, as long as it serves the greater good. So the way I look at it is you got a few choices and a few opportunities every day to become the version of yourself that you want. Today just might be that day. As you listen to me rant on this podcast, today might be the day. Like, what are you going to do differently in order to become better? What is your thing you're going to do? Me, I had to go to extreme. I'm not saying you have to do that, but if you're in a place and you keep saying to yourself, I regret this, and I'm not happy with my choice about that, you'd have to ask yourself a couple of questions on how bad do you really want it, and what are you really willing to do, and what are you really willing to give up? Because this journey that we're on, it's going to be over soon. You have to know that. It's going to be over soon. And I wasted so much time being selfish, playing the role of being pitiful and selfish and being emotionally out of control, that it's just not worth it. And I'm trying to implore you to take action and realize, what if I knew I couldn't fail in my life? Where could I take it? Do you want a better spiritual relationship? Just start having a better spiritual relationship. Do you want to lose weight? Well, then just start losing weight. Do you want to be a better employee? Do you want to earn more? Well, then just start earning more by being a better employee. Do you want to have more passion in your relationship? Then bring more passion to your relationship. And more importantly, if you want to find your purpose, the only way that I know how to find your purpose is to completely become selfless, get out of your comfort zone, and start living on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at No Comfort Zone 1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.